Have you ever thought about what forgiveness really means and how it can transform a person's life? Today, I will tell you the story of an elderly woman who, despite all the adversities, with her resilience and courage, found her son after many years and learned that true love can overcome any obstacle. Before we dive into this touching story, be sure to subscribe to our channel and activate the bell so you don't miss any of our next videos. Stay until the end to discover how an act of forgiveness changed not only the lives of the protagonist, but also those of many other people. It was a night of heavy snowfall, and the rain mixed with snowflakes, creating an icy dance that kissed the ground. Under this curtain of water and snow, an elderly woman slowly advanced along the sidewalk. The drops slid down her wrinkled cheeks, while her old patched coat and her old-fashioned boots braved the cold. A large, discreet scarf covered her head, giving her an air of mystery. In her shaking hands, she held a piece of paper that she consulted constantly, looking around. "It seems he's here," she murmured at last, sighing with relief. She stopped in front of an elegant bakery, where people in expensive suits were getting out of fancy cars and walking in with satisfied faces. "Do you only have time to ask for money?" one of the men said casually as he passed her. But the woman didn't seem to notice the unpleasant remark. She opened the large glass door and stood there for a while, admiring the brightly colored walls and exquisite furniture. Then she approached the counter of the clerk, a young woman who a minute earlier had been smiling kindly, but her smile quickly faded. "You must have the wrong address. Please leave the property immediately or I will call security." "Honey, I'm not leaving. I reserved a seat in advance and I have the money," the older woman replied. The clerk looked at her reluctantly and called the security guard. "Let's check what it says," the guard said. The older woman took a handkerchief from her inside coat pocket and began unwrapping it until a document appeared. The guard examined it and confirmed that there was a reservation in Carla's name, but reluctantly said, "This is an elite restaurant. We don't want you here." The woman was very offended. "Why are they treating me like this? I haven't done anything wrong." But she wouldn't back down. "I didn't come here to eat. I have to see the owner." The guard escorted her to the stairs, while the customers continued to look at her with contempt. Despite the pain in her legs, Carla climbed the long stairs and opened the door to a large, crowded room. The contemptuous looks made her feel humiliated, but she persevered. Finally, a tall man entered the room and shouted, "Gentlemen, what's going on?" Carla recognized him immediately. "Filippo, my dear, you've grown up," she thought. But the man didn't recognize her. "Take her out of here," said a customer. Filippo approached Carla and asked her to follow him. "I'm your mother," she whispered. Filippo remained impassive and led her outside. "I don't believe it," he said. "My mother died years ago." But Carla insisted and showed him a photo of him as a child. Filippo was confused and invited her to have tea to talk. During their meeting, Carla told her story. Left alone after the death of her husband and mother, she discovered she was pregnant and did her best to raise Filippo, but health problems forced her to leave him in an orphanage. When she recovered and returned to pick him up, Filippo had been adopted. Years later, thanks to an old friend, Carla managed to track him down. What do you think about this story? Have you ever had an experience of forgiveness that changed your life? Tell us in the comments. We are curious to know your experiences and thoughts. Filippo listened attentively. Resentment at the abandonment was mixed with compassion for his mother's story. Finally, he decided to give her a second chance. "Come live with me," he said. He gave her the key to a small, empty apartment. Carla moved, accepted. In the months that followed, they built a new relationship, making up for lost time. Sadly, Carla did not live long, but her last years were the happiest. At her funeral, Filippo gave an emotional speech, recalling his mother's strength and love. He decided to found the Carla Foundation to help elderly and homeless women, offering them accommodation and support. The foundation became a symbol of hope and transformation. If this story is touching your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell. Thanks for watching, and until the next inspiring story. At the Foundation's annual event, Filippo was approached by a young woman holding a small package. "Mr. Filippo, I wanted to thank you. My grandmother was one of the Foundation's first guests, and she always talked about how much it meant to her. This is a gift she wanted you to have." Filippo opened the package and found a small portrait of Carla, painted with love and care. With shaking hands, Filippo looked at the portrait and felt his mother's presence. "Thank you so much," he said, his voice cracking with emotion. "This gift means a lot to me." The young woman walked away, and Philip continued to stare at his mother's portrait. Throughout the Foundation, Carla's story continued to inspire and transform lives. Her legacy of love, compassion, and forgiveness lived on in the hearts of those touched by her story. Carla's life, marked by pain and redemption, became a symbol of compassion that continued to illuminate the path of many people, proving that even in the darkest circumstances, love and forgiveness have the power to transform our lives and those of others. As Filippo and Carla grew closer, he began to see the world through different eyes. Each day spent together helped him reflect not only on their relationship, but also on what he had lost by holding onto resentment for so many years. He started to understand that true forgiveness wasn't just an act toward his mother, but also toward himself. Filippo realized that forgiveness frees one from bitterness, and Carla's presence in his life, even though brief, gave him a second chance to grow as a man and as a son. Thank you, friends, for staying with us until the end of the video. We'll see you tomorrow with another exciting story.